Our society treats victimhood and being a victim as if it's heroic. That, of course, is a mistake. But because of that, when I say things like, if you do this, or if you don't follow this advice, or, if you make these mistakes, then you get what you deserve, that really upsets people. The idea that somebody might deserve a bad consequence for their actions rather than just being the victim of something is upsetting to a lot of people. And so we're going to unpack that and talk about why it's important to take ownership for your role, even in your own abusive relationship. And we're going to talk about why that's kind of the key to getting out of these patterns. I'm Paul from Apex Mindset. Slide your finger over, hit the subscribe button. Okay, comment on this if you have any questions, concerns, or send me a message. Because this is a little bit controversial, in this approach. Because what people want when they're involved in abusive relationships, I'll just call them abusive. They're not necessarily physically abusive, although they can be, but we can talk about BPD and narcissistic abuse, right? Or getting in with someone with antisocial personality disorder or whatever. This was sparked too by a comment, and I've had people comment before that, well, what do you mean you get what you deserve? Well, this person was lying in the relationship. This person did A, B, and C. What do you mean? Right? So I'm going to use an analogy here to kind of illustrate what I mean. So let's take ourselves out of relationship psychology mode for a minute, and let's do an analogy, okay? All right, you see these walls behind me? All right. Notice it actually looks okay on my screen as I see it, but these walls are mint green, all right? If you were here in this room with me, you'd look at it. I even left the tape on the masking tape on the walls from when I painted. The walls are mint green, all right? It looks like an Easter egg in here, all right? So why would I paint my walls mint green? This might surprise some of you, all right? But I'm not an interior decorator. I know that's surprising. I know you guys look at me, you hear me talk, and you think, gosh, he must be really good at interior decorating. But much to your surprise, I'm not an interior decorator. I do okay, but, mistakes can be made. So, I go to buy this paint, and I had this idea in my head of going with, I always usually go dark when I paint stuff. And I'm like, man, I got this window here, which I'm not showing on the screen right now, in this office area. And I got a view of the lake, and it's really nice. And it's bright in here during the day. I want to capitalize on that. I don't want to just do a dark color, So I'm looking for something light. And I had this idea of doing like a really light almost, but I didn't want to do white either, make it look like a hospital, So I had this idea, and then I went and looked at paint samples, and I saw this said waterscape on it. Okay, waterscape. I thought, damn, that sounds badass, waterscape, All right, that sounds cool. And then it was up next to a bunch of other darker greens, So, and then the lights at Lowe's, and yeah, I know I'm not supposed to do any of this, right? Because we're in a pandemic, whatever. So I'm like, I'm gonna. This is sweet. This is sweet. This will look good. This will look light or whatever. It certainly won't be mint green. So what I did was I diluted myself through the entire process, bought mint green paint that's called waterscape because they're liars. And I painted my whole room freaking mint green, okay? And now I have to prime it again and paint it a different color because we're not gonna do mint green forever, all right? Or for more than a few days here. So that's what happened to me. Now, I can sit here and be a victim and go, man, well, they named it waterscape and they did, they presented it like it wasn't mint green, and talk about how it's everybody else's fault that I painted my damn walls mint green. Or I can take a little bit of responsibility here. I'm not an interior decorator. I could have even done a Google search and it's figured out, looked at some room samples, figured out what paints were used. I could have went about this completely differently, you know? And I screwed up, okay? I screwed up, I made a mistake, and I thought I was gonna have waterscape walls, and I got mint green walls, so I'm a victim, right? I got what I deserved here, all right? Because I didn't do the due diligence that I needed to do when entering in this project. All right, and it's a small project. It's not a big room. I can easily fix this problem. This is a few days of a fix, okay? But I didn't do I wouldn't have had to fix a problem had I done my due diligence beforehand. Maybe sought out some advice from people who know more than me about interior decorating, all right? And picked a better color. Hell, I could have asked the guy who was working at Lowe's, who seemed to know a lot about paint, and gotten some advice and steered me in the right direction, and I wouldn't be talking about my Easter egg walls right now. All right? I got what I deserved. But this is a small project. This is a low consequence. We can laugh about my mint green walls, and in a week or whatever, when I get the time, as I get the time, it'll be a different color, and it doesn't matter. You guys enter in these relationships with no due diligence whatsoever. You don't do any research. You don't do any, and then a lot of stuff is bad out there too, and I realize that. You know what I mean? But you don't do the things that you need to be doing so you can be happy in a relationship. And then you don't do the things you should be doing to learn about toxic relationships, to learn about personality disorders, so you don't enter in those situations. And most of you who are watching this video have been with, at least on dates, but most of you have been in full-blown relationships with toxic people, many of whom who have personality disorders. And here, I got a video running every Friday to talk about this stuff. And we talk about it at expert high levels, but in a digestible way that you can understand. I keep my videos in under 10 minutes. This is not a big investment. But yet, you guys don't take the time and don't spend the energy you guys listening do, but a lot of people out there don't. I'm not that entertaining. I don't have right now, okay? I haven't applied. I'm getting video software editing stuff in the mail as we speak, and there's gonna be like stuff I'm gonna do, but that's a process. And so right now it's just content. But people don't even have the attention span to spend 10 minutes to secure and better the rest of their entire lives. They could watch my videos every Friday and never get into a toxic relationship ever again. And yet they don't make that investment. They get what they deserve, and so do you. Okay, that's what I mean. And if I'm coaching somebody, all right, or counseling somebody, and they had a situation where let's say a woman had got into it with someone with antisocial personality disorder, okay? He may have lied and he may have deceived. He may have been mint green and presented himself as waterscape, okay? And he may have duped you, right? And that's not fair, of course. But there are behaviors and warning signs that person missed, okay? There are things about that situation that could have been, there's a lot of signs and things they all could be avoided. Every toxic or abusive relationship you're ever into, and I say this with full confidence, can be avoided if you are equipped with the knowledge and the experience and the understanding of these things. And if you understand what attracts you to other people and your own attraction triggers, you can avoid these bad situations. So part of the first step of making sure you get out of a bad situation or don't get back into a bad situation is to deal with the parts that you can control. So what parts are you responsible for? You know, where did you make that mistake? What parts are you responsible for? There is nobody who is so good at lying, even the best of them, that you can't figure it out, that there are no telltale signs. Maybe you won't be able to figure out within the first month, let's say. All right? Or the first 6 weeks. But this is why we spend time dating. This is why we spin plates, right? As I tell my men. Okay? This is why you don't jump into relationships and marriages. This is why you spend time vetting out a partner for at least a couple years. psychologist, and you should go to his channel. Sean T. Smith recommends, I think in his book, The Tactical Guide to Relationships or Dating or something. I'll put it in the comments in the link. In his book, I think he recommends a year after the honeymoon period before you like put pen to paper for that commitment, meaning like moving in together or marriage or any of those things. All right, so spending a lot of time. If you don't know, if this person's not going to dupe you for that amount of time. They could dupe you for a couple dates. They could get in, they could get in the bedroom with you. They could get you to, to pay for dinner a few times. They could even dupe you into a relationship and spend a few months there, but they're not going to dupe you for that long. And if you are missing it for 6 months to a year, that's partially your fault. And I'm not saying you deserve to be abused, okay? Of course not. But there's a certain amount of responsibility that you have for your own decisions and your behavior. And I know it's real popular and heroic to say, I was abused in this bad relationship, whatever. Okay, yeah, that's terrible, but it's not heroic. Your bad decisions to be in a bad relationship isn't a heroic thing. And I know I'm going to lose a lot of female viewers by saying that, because a lot of women, unfortunately, love to jump onto this mindset. But I know that I'm going to keep a few of you women viewers who are smarter than that. Okay? The few of you that are pretty smart and understand that a victim's mindset's not going to make you successful are going to understand what I'm saying. And if I thought that placating and, saying, trying to do feel-good language and making you feel better was going to help you, all right, I would do it, but it's not. It's going to do the opposite of helping you. It'll get me more views. It'll get me more subscribers. It'll probably get me more clients if I were to fluff you up, but it's not going to get you to stop getting into toxic relationships. Understand when I coach people, right? I'm unfucking them in like a few sessions, because I don't BS around. You can go to your local therapist and they're going to BS you around for a year or two and let you come to your own conclusions while you brain dump on them once a week for an hour and your insurance pays the rates. Or you could coach somebody like myself, and a couple sessions, usually you're sorting yourself out, right? Or at least you're on the right path. I mean, it really does happen that quickly. And why does it happen that quickly? Partially because I don't BS you. And so when I say something like, hey, if you make these bad decisions, or if you don't watch this video till the end because you don't have the attention span, and then you go off and do stupid stuff that I talk about in the video, well, you kind of deserve that one. If I say that, it's just because I need you to take responsibility for your actions and start being a little bit proactive. I made a mistake on this paint. I wasn't very proactive. Now I have mint green walls I have to fix. But guess what? I'll have that fixed in about a week. It's not a big deal, and painting's kind of enjoyable, right? But imagine, doing what I did to these walls in your lives. That's what you guys are doing. You're doing it in your relationships, and you're screwing yourself over for years and years and years, and then it's taking years and years for you to fix yourself. What the hell, right? So stop doing that stuff. Be proactive, all right? You need to do coaching sessions if you really have some bad patterns that you haven't been able to fix. Okay, if you're going around YouTube trying to figure out answers and you're just not getting them and not applying them in your life, even from videos like mine, then you need to coach, all right? You need to hit me up privately and let me unscrew you, okay? Un-F you, all right, in a couple sessions, all right? And get you on the right path. But more importantly, though, is you need to start being proactive with who you get involved with and the decisions you're making in those relationships, and not allowing yourself to continue with somebody who has a blatant personality disorder or criminality or some of these problems. I had a negative comment, not really negative, but questioning what I said, show up on the antisocial personality disorder video I did. Antisocial personality disorder. These are the people that end up in your prison systems, okay? Oh, what do you mean I get what I deserve? What if they lied, and what if they completely duped me? You get what I'm saying? And again, I'm sorry that happens. If you get, it sucks. It's terrible to be in it with those people. I've been in bad situations like that too. It's not fun. It's not good, okay? And going through abuse is never good. but you need to take some responsibility for and some ownership for your participation in that situation. If you weren't out of that situation when she started figuring out this person was this way, and if the first time you started figuring it out was a year into it, then there's something broken that we need to fix with you, okay? That's not a judgment, all right? But that's just what it is, okay? But here's the thing though, people don't want to fix themselves half the time. Half the time what they want to do is delude themselves and follow delusions because it feels better, because of feelings and because of neurochemicals and dopamine and oxytocin. They want to chase after toxic women or toxic men. Okay, they want to chase after abusive scenarios. And then they get to play the victim, of course, and, oh, feel bad for me because I was abused. And so when you're doing that kind of stuff instead of working to fix your problem, yeah, you do get what you deserve. And I'm sorry if that offends you, but hopefully it'll offend you enough to fix the problem, okay? Because it's hard enough to fix the problem when you admit that you made mistakes and you're able to identify those. So don't make it impossible by not being able to recognize your role in your own toxic scenarios that you put yourself in, okay? If you won't get better, I'm gonna tell you this, even if the guy was utmost horribly abusive and is in prison for abusing you, you won't get better if you don't recognize your role in this. You won't. And your percentage chance of repeating these mistakes is very, very high. So when I say that, when I say, hey, do this, do that, I use the word deserved, okay? When I say that, I mean it with the utmost compassion. I'm not saying it to upset you just to upset you, all right? But I'm saying it because I want you to do better. You understand? So let's do better. Okay, let's do better. This is my, we talk about toxic relationships every Friday. I'm going to kick a video out. They will get better over time. I just need to get things like the paint on my walls figured out. And then, we can start seeing some improvements. And I can entertain you more, right? More special effects maybe, right? But the content's what's important, and this is stuff that's going to save your life, okay? If you're single, or if you've been through bad relationships, or if you're in one, the stuff that we're featuring on Friday, or if you've been through one in the past, and you need to understand it more and what happened, this is the stuff. On Friday, we're going to talk about toxic stuff, at least for a while, okay? Send me a comment. Hit the like button. Send me a message with questions about these things, and I'll help you out. But I'm only going to do this for so long because actually my Friday videos, people just aren't as interested in these videos as they are in other stuff I do, which is mind-blowing because when I'm coaching people, what am I coaching them on? Toxic relationships they've gotten into, or the effects of a toxic relationship they got into. That's why I do these videos. But yet, nobody wants to be proactive and, binge watch my Friday videos. I can tell because I look at the views and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So that's what's mind-blowing because I'm giving you the answers here, but you're not interested in the answers. Most of you are interested in deluding yourself. And once again, if you're going to delude yourself when the answers are right in front of your face, well, you fill in the blank, right? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the support. Have a good weekend.